history have been when judges stood up to the other branches. We're not cowards. Our country and
important to the big funders and influencers of the Republican Party. When the Republican justices go off on these 5 justice partisan excursions, there's a big Republican corporate or partisan interest involved 92% of the time. The tiny handful of these cases that don't implicate an interest of the big Republican influencers is so flukishly few that we can set them aside. Let's look at the 73 cases that all implicate a major Republican Party interest. Again, 73 is a lot of cases at the Supreme Court. Is there a pattern to these 73 cases? Oh, yes, there is. Every time a big Republican corporate or partisan interest is involved, the big Republican interest wins. Every time. Let me repeat. In 73 partisan decisions where there's a big Republican interest at stake, the big Republican interest wins. Every damned time. Thus, the mad scramble of big Republican interest groups to protect a Roberts 5 that will reliably give them wins. Really big wins sometimes. I note that when the Roberts 5 saddles up, these so-called conservatives are anything but judicially conservative. They readily overturn precedent, toss out statutes passed by wide bipartisan margins, and decide on broad constitutional issues that they need not reach. Modesty, originalism, stare decisis, all these supposedly conservative judicial principles all have the hoof prints of the Roberts 5 all across their backs, wherever those principles got in the way of those wins for the big Republican interests. The litany of Roberts 5 decisions explains why big Republican interests want Judge Kavanaugh on the court so badly. So badly that Republicans trampled so much Senate precedent to push him through. So let's review the highlights reel. What do big Republican interests want? Well, first they want to win elections. What has the Roberts 5 delivered? Help Republicans gerrymander elections. Veith v. Jubileer, 5-4, license to gerrymander. Help Republicans keep minority voters away from the polls. Shelby County, 5-4, and Bartlett v. Strickland, 5-4, and Abbott v. Perez, 5-4, despite the trial judge finding the Texas legislature actually intended to target and suppress minority voters. And the big one, help corporate front group money flood elections. Big money interests love unlimited power to buy elections, lobby, and threaten and bully Congress. McCutcheon, 5-4, counting the concurrence, Bullock, 5-4, and the infamous grotesque 5-4 Citizens United decision, which I believe stands beside Lochner on the court's roll of shame. What else do big influencers want? To get out of courtrooms. Big influencers hate courtrooms because they're lobbying and electioneering and threatening doesn't work, or at least it's not supposed to. In a courtroom, big influencers used to getting their way have to suffer the indignity of equal treatment. So the Roberts 5 protects corporations from group class action lawsuits. Walmart v. Dukes, 5-4. Comcast, 5-4. And this past term, Epic Systems, 5-4. The Roberts 5 helps corporations steer customers and workers away from courtrooms and into mandatory arbitration. Concepcion, Italian Colors, and Rent-A-Center, all Roberts 5. Epic Systems does double duty here because now workers can't even arbitrate their claims as a group. Hindering access to the courthouse for plaintiffs generally, Iqbal, 5-4. Protecting corporations from being taken to court by employees. Harmed through pay discrimination, Ledbetter, 5-4. Age discrimination, Gross, 5-4. Harassment, Vance, 5-4. And retaliation, Nassar, 5-4. Even insulating corporations from liability for international human rights violations, Jessner, 5-4. Corporations aren't in the Constitution. Juries are. Indeed, courtroom juries are the one element of American government designed to protect people against encroachments by private wealth and power. So, of course, the Roberts 5 rules for wealthy, powerful corporations over jury rights every time, with nary a mention of the 7th Amendment. What's another one? Oh yeah, a classic, helping big business bust unions. Harris v. Quinn, 5-4, and Janice v. AFSCME this year, 5-4, overturning a 40-year precedent. Lots of big Republican influencers are polluters who like to pollute for free. So the Roberts 5 delivers partisan decisions that let corporate polluters pollute. To pick a few, Rapanos, weakening wetland protections, 5-4. National Association of Home Builders, weakening protections for endangered species, 5-4. Michigan v. EPA, helping air polluters, 5-4. And in the face of emerging climate havoc, there's the procedurally aberrant 5-4 partisan decision to stop the EPA Clean Power Plan. Pattern. Then come Roberts 5 bonus decisions advancing a far-right social agenda. Gonzalez v. Carhart, upholding restrictive abortion laws. Hobby Lobby, granting corporations religious rights over the health care rights of their employees. NIFLA, letting states deny women truthful information about their reproductive choices. All 5-4, all Republican. Add Heller and McDonald, which reanimated for the gun industry a theory a former Chief Justice once called a fraud. Both decisions 5-4. This year, Trump v. Hawaii, 5-4, rubber stamping the Muslim travel ban. And in case Wall Street was feeling left out, helping insulate investment bankers from fraud claims, Janus Capital, 5-4. Pattern. No wonder the American people feel the game is rigged. Here's how the game works. Big business and partisan groups fund the Federalist Society, which picked Gorsuch and now you. As the White House counsel admitted, they insourced the Federalist Society for this selection. Exactly how the nominees were picked and who was in the room where it happened and who had a vote or a veto and what was said or promised, that's all a deep, dark secret. Then big business and partisan groups fund the Judicial Crisis Network, which runs dark money political campaigns to influence senators in confirmation votes, as they've done for Gorsuch and now for you. Who pays millions of dollars for that and what their expectations are is a deep, dark secret. These groups also fund Republican election campaigns with dark money and keep the identity of big donors a deep, dark secret. And of course, 90% of your documents are to us a deep, dark secret. Then once the nominee's on the court, the same business front groups with ties to the Koch brothers and other funders of the Republican political machine file friend of the court or amicus briefs to signal their wishes to the Roberts 5. Who is really behind those friends is another deep, dark secret. It has gotten so weird that Republican justices now even send hints back to big business interests about how they'd like to help them next. And then big business lawyers rush out to lose cases, just to rush up before the friendly court pronto.